Part 5. Konoha, I am really not a bad person. Author, Cat on the List. Chapter 41. Sister Kushina, we have bought some meatballs. Do you want to come and have one? After Anko said this, he paused and then looked at Uchihasuke next to Kushina. Gee, do you want to eat some too? Hee, Anko, just give me the meatballs. If he wants to eat, I can just feed him. Oh, okay, Anko obediently handed Kushina a bunch of meatballs. Later, Kurane and Mikoto also walked out of the meatball shop. Uchihasuke gave up the idea of continuing to speak and was not in a hurry. Next, a group of people continued walking towards the barbecue restaurant. During dinner, everyone was full of curiosity about Uchihasuke, including Hong. Originally, Uchihasuke was just a little brother in the mouth of his best friend. Unexpectedly, he suddenly grew into a towering tree in one day. The whole process was like a dream coming into reality. This strong sense of gap left a deep impression on Hong. Moreover, Uchihasuke is much more handsome than she imagined. Especially compared to her suitor Asuma. Asuma is just a rough guy with an unshaven beard, while Uchihasuke is much more elegant and handsome. Not only that, what attracts Uchihasuke more is her maturity. Asuma is like a stupid kid from a landowner who has not grown up. The only thing he can do is whether he is the son of the third Hokage. Of course, this is still the past, the current Hokage is Orochimaru. Oh, no, the current Hokage is Uchihasuke. Kurane didn't understand why his father said that Uchihasuke was the true Hokage. It wasn't until Kurane had been in contact with Uchihasuke for a while that she vaguely understood the meaning of the sentence. Late at night, the party finally ended successfully. After everyone left, Uchihasuke carried Kushina and walked towards home. Instead of going to his home in the Uchiha clan settlement, Uchihasuke returned with Kushina to Kushina's home, their home. When eating, Kushina always makes some little movements under the table. For example, rub your feet against Zyuja, or lift your legs and put them on his thighs. Uchihasuke has long since returned home. As soon as they entered the corridor, Uchihasuke had already occupied Kushina's little mouth. Before the door was completely closed, Kushina's humming could be heard from inside the house. It wasn't until late at night that the sound gradually died down and the room became quiet again. At the same time, the sound of the emotion collection system also appeared in Uchihasuke's ears. Collect Kushina's emotions of excitement, comfort, and happiness. The total emotional value this time is 6,500 points. The current cumulative emotional value is 125,300 points. Kushina hugged Uchihasuke weakly, and the idea in her heart became stronger. The gap in strength is too huge. Even though she gritted her teeth and persisted, she was still no match for Uchihasuke. For 2 days in a row, she felt like she was about to fall apart. However, just when Kushina was about to fall asleep, Uchihasuke suddenly spoke in her ear. Kushina, tomorrow morning, you will come with me to the front line of Mist Ninja Village. Kushina's spirit was instantly lifted. Go to the front line? Leave Konoha? Suke, I'm from Nine Tails to help. Kushina was actually very moved by Uchihasuke's proposal. No one wanted to be imprisoned in Konoha. But since she came to Konoha, she has almost never left Konoha. However, she didn't want to embarrass Uchihasuke because of herself. What's wrong with the help from Nine Tails? If I ask you to leave Konoha, no one can say no, Uchihasuke Haki said. Kushina looked at Uchihasuke with little stars in her eyes. However, Kushina did not agree. Gee, why don't we forget it? I'm afraid it will cause trouble. If the Nine Tails riot breaks out when I leave Konoha, the sealing class will not be able to make it in time. Uchihasuke immediately understood what Kushina was worried about. I thought you didn't want to leave Konoha. It would be much easier if you were just worried about Nine Tails. Aren't I afraid of causing trouble to you? I haven't been outside Konoha for a long time, Kushina said in a low mood. Uchihasuke smiled and hugged Kushina to her body, holding Kushina's head with her hands, making Kushina look at her. Kushina, don't forget that I am from the Uchiha clan. The tailed beast is just a little pet in front of us. At first, Kushina didn't understand what Uchihasuke meant, until she saw the Sharingan Megatama in Uchihasuke's eyes appearing and turning rapidly. Kushina subconsciously panicked. She originally thought Uchihasuke still wanted it, so she quickly said, "Suke, no." However, the familiar sense of control did not appear in Kushina's heart. Instead, Kushina's vision went dark. When she came to her senses, she found herself in a sewer. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The sound of water running kept coming to Kushina's ears. Looking at the dim scene in front of her, Kushina quickly realized where she was now. A trace of panic appeared in Kushina's eyes, as if instinctively. Although Kushina looks strong on the outside, being strong is just her protective color. It's because she has a huge fear in her heart that she doesn't want to think about. Even when she mentioned Nine Tails in front of Uchihasuke, the performance was natural. At this moment, Kushina felt Uchihasuke's gentle voice ringing in her ears. "Don't be afraid, Kushina, I'm here. Thank you all for the flowers, please give me flowers, please give me flowers. Please give me flowers, I am very motivated to write with flowers. Konoha, I am really not a bad person." Author, Cat on the List. Chapter 42. In the sewer. Kushina didn't say anything. After hearing Uchihasuke's voice, she turned around and hugged Uchihasuke forcefully, burying her whole head in Uchihasuke's arms. "Well, as long as you are here, I'm not afraid." At this moment, Kushina felt herself completely wrapped in warmth, and the fear in her heart disappeared. Just when he looked up at Uchihasuke, there were emotional tears in the corners of his eyes, and the love in his eyes was a little stronger. Nine Tails was sleeping inside the iron fence when he suddenly felt someone coming in. Just as he was looking confused, he looked down and saw two small figures hugging each other across the prison cell. Nine Tails was suddenly filled with questions. "Should I leave now? It's not a big deal if I'm not allowed to sleep at night, but they still come in to disturb me and stuff me with dog food. Oh, no, I'm a fox." Thinking of this, Nine Tails became even more angry. The tail behind him was like a huge pillar, swaying violently behind him. "Kushina, you are so arrogant. You dare to come in on your own initiative. Please release the seal to me quickly, otherwise, I will kill you." The huge sound of Nine Tails echoed throughout the sewers. When Kushina heard the familiar voice, her body trembled subconsciously. It is not difficult to see that this is not the first time Kushina has been threatened by Nine Tails. "Smelly fox, did anyone say you were too noisy?" Uchihasuke looked up at Nine Tails with cold eyes. When Nine Tails heard someone scolding him, his eyes suddenly widened. It had been a long time since he heard someone scold him, and when he was about to speak, he suddenly saw Mangekyo Sharingan in Uchihasuke's eyes, and he became agitated. "You brat of the Uchiha clan, Mangekyo Sharingan, who are you? Damn the Uchiha clan, I want to kill you." Although Nine Tails still sounded arrogant, its tail fell down at some point. Apparently it is particularly afraid of Mangekyo Sharingan in Uchihasuke's eyes. Uchihasuke looked at the straight-faced Nine Tails in front of him, with a smile flashing in his eyes. "I am Uchihasuke. As you can see, I am a member of the Uchiha clan and a Jinchuriki man. I came in today specifically to visit you." "Visit me? What do you mean? Don't think that because you, a member of the Uchiha clan, have activated Mangekyo, I am afraid of you. I am Nine Tails. If you are really not afraid, why did you step back? Weren't you very arrogant just now? I quite like your unruly look just now." "Asshole, I didn't retreat, I just felt it was a little hot in front of me," Nine Tails said still forcefully. You brat from the Uchiha clan, what are you doing here? If you have something to say, please tell me, and if you have nothing to do, leave as soon as possible. It's bad luck. Ninetales is not afraid of anyone, even if Sarutobi Hiruzen appears in front of it, it will never react like this. The problem is, Uchiha has Mangekyo Sharingan in his eyes. That's Mangekyo Sharingan. Seeing these eyes, Ninetales couldn't help but recall the fear of being dominated by Uchiha Madara. The problem was that Uchiha Madara was extremely rough back then and always had to endure the beatings of Wooden Golem. Thinking of this, Ninetales was so aggrieved that she almost dropped her pearls. That wood style is too painful. Therefore, it is a little timid now, and there is no problem. After all, it doesn't want to get beaten again. Don't be afraid, Uchiha comforted Kushina in his arms, and then continued to look at Ninetales. Today, I have nothing to do with my visit. I just want you to hand over the power of Ninetales to Kushina. Ninetales' eyes widened when he heard this. Do you want to hear what you just said? This is what you said is nothing. Let me hand over all my power. Is this still nothing? In that case, Kushina would be riding on my head. Don't even think about it, I won't hand over the power of Ninetales even if I die. Ninetales was furious. There are two ways to turn on the tailed beast mode. One is to have a heart-to-heart relationship with the tailed beast, gain its approval, and thereby gain the power of the tailed beast. Another way is to rob. Naruto also used grabbing in the future, and had a rally match with Ninetales. Later it was recognized by Ninetales. Uchiha obviously did not intend to use such troublesome methods as heart-to-heart and conquer. However, Uchiha didn't expect that Ninetales was also in the sewer when it was in Kushina's body. Ordinarily, shouldn't it be tied to a great fireball? However, this is not important. You don't agree even if you die? I'm sorry, I didn't intend to let you die. Besides, whether you agree or not doesn't matter, it's me who has the final say. Uchiha clan brat, you have gone too far and bullied others too much. Could it be that I have no temper? I admit that I can't beat you, and I am afraid of your eyes, but it is absolutely impossible for me to hand over my power. At this time, Ninetales looked at the seal in front of him and felt filled with peace of mind. Yes, there is a seal, although it can't get out. But equally, Uchiha couldn't hurt him at will. Uchiha smiled slightly, seemingly not surprised by Ninetales' answer. That's not up to you. Ninetales seemed to realize something for a moment and immediately looked away. Mangekyo Sharingan is powerful, but as long as you don't confront him, he won't be easily attacked. However, the next second, unspeakable panic flashed in Ninetales' eyes. Mangekyo, the divine body. In an instant, the entire tailed beast of Ninetales froze. The sealing and control capabilities of the divine body are extremely powerful, and even Ninetales has no ability to resist. Then Uchiha took Kushina's hand, entered the cage where Ninetales was sealed, and came to the motionless Ninetales. Uchiha jumped on the tip of Ninetales' nose and looked into Ninetales' eyes. Since you are unwilling to hand it over, then I will get it myself. I believe you will not refuse. Don't say I don't respect you. If you refuse, just open your mouth and say something. Ninetales' eyes rolled crazily. I want to speak, but you let me speak. Who knows, Uchiha said next. Since you don't speak, I will assume that you agree. Ninetales. Kushina, use the power to pull Ninetales' chakra out of its body and integrate it into your body, Uchiha said softly in front of Ninetales. Ninetales watched as Uchiha taught Kushina how to steal its power. Ninetales kept roaring in his heart, I refuse, woo, it's too much, it's really too much. Uchiha, don't be too shameless. Ninetales was once controlled by Uchiha Madara. Although it hated that feeling, it had to admit that Uchiha Madara was indeed a powerful ninja. No matter it is strength or courage. But the Uchiha in front of him is completely different. Although he is equally powerful, he is simply a shameless spokesperson. They had me under control, and they actually agreed or disagreed with me. However, Ninetales soon ran out of time to think about this. Because, Kushina takes action. Sealing technique, adamantine sealing chains. Glittering golden chains emerged from Kushina's body and filled the entire underground space in an instant. Then, the chain turned in the air and shot towards Ninetales' body. A huge feeling of pain instantly appeared in Ninetales' heart. Uchiha, Kushina, I will never forgive you in the future, damn it, damn it. At the same time, Ninetales felt the power draining rapidly from his body. But the aura of Kushina in front of her is constantly increasing. Soon, Kushina was completely enveloped in golden light. Thank you all for the flowers, please give me flowers, please give me flowers. Tomorrow there will be more than 21,016 flowers, please continue to add more. Please give me data. If you have any comments or ideas, please feel free to submit them in the comment area. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Konoha, I am really not a bad person. Author, Cat on the List. Chapter 43. The huge chakra appears between Kushina and Ninetales, emitting a fiery light. Even though Ninetales tried his best to resist, the loss of chakra never slowed down at all. It wasn't until Kushina successfully took away all of Ninetales' chakra that Uchiha released his control over Ninetales. Uchiha, Kushina, I will remember what you did to me today, and I will never let you go. Ninetales said weakly. In fact, it also wants to haki or be more forceful, but it has no strength. Lying on the ground, like a salted fish that has lost its dream. However, at this moment Ninetales was like a shadow in the corner, and neither Kushina nor Uchiha paid attention to it. Gee, look, I've become so powerful now. It's indeed impressive, Uchiha confirmed. Kushina is now glowing with golden light, burning like a flame, and there is a row of golden megatama on her collar. Hee, Suk, this way I can protect you in the future, let me protect you. Kushina happily threw herself into Uchiha arms. Uchiha didn't know why Kushina was obsessed with protecting him, so he just smiled and rubbed Kushina's head. Okay, this time when I go to the battlefield of Mist Ninja, it's up to you to protect me. Well, great, this way I can leave Konoha with Suk. I haven't left Konoha for a long time. I hope the ninjas of the Mist Ninja will retreat when the time comes, otherwise I will give them a good look. The surge in power gave Kushina strong self-confidence. After talking to Uchiha for a long time, she realized that there was a Ninetales next to her. She poked half of her head out of Uchiha arms and looked at it triumphantly. Ninetales wilted to the ground. Hey, Ninetales, now your power is with me. Let's see if you dare to scare me in the future. If you dare not listen to me in the future, I will beat you. After Kushina finished speaking, she shook herself little fist. Ninetales drooped his ears and closed his eyes. It seems like this, it's like I can't see Uchiha and the others. At this moment, it just wanted the two people in front of it to leave quickly. Unless Kushina dies, it can only be sealed in Kushina's body. This makes it even more uncomfortable than Uchiha Madara directly controlling it. Just when Ninetales turned a deaf ear to what was going on outside the window, Uchiha brought Kushina and came to Ninetales again. Kurama, make a promise. If you cooperate well with Kushina, I will give you freedom. Uchiha said slowly. What did you call me just now? How could you know this name? Ninetales' ears instantly stood up, not even paying attention to what Uchiha said next. Isn't it surprising to know that name? Kurama. How could you possibly know this name? Even Senju Hashirama and Senju Uchiha Madara don't know it. Gee, is this name special? Why are Nine Tails so surprised? Kushina asked. Uchihasuke didn't even look at Nine Tails, but lowered his head to meet Kushina's curious gaze. Because this name is Nine Tails' own name. When Sage of Six Paths created Nine Tails, they specially named it. But later on, people didn't know this name, and just called them based on the tailed beasts. Oh, it turns out there was such a history before. I didn't expect Nine Tails to be created by Sage of Six Paths. In Kushina's mind, Nine Tails was synonymous with disaster. She didn't expect Nine Tails to have such a noble origin. Damn human, you haven't answered me yet, why do you know my name? Nine Tails was a little crazy. Is this important? Kurama, the name is just a code name. It's like you calling me Uchihasuke. Shouldn't the more important thing be the freedom I talk about? Humph, freedom. It's just lies from you humans. I don't believe you humans. Uchihasuke did not refute. For so many years, humans have been using Nine Tails as weapons. It is normal for Nine Tails to have such thoughts. Kurama? Do you think I still need to lie to you now? Your power has been taken away by us now. Nine Tails was stunned for a moment when he heard this. Yes, my power has been taken away. Does Uchihasuke still need to lie to me now? Although it is the first time to meet Uchihasuke, Nine Tails does not think that Uchihasuke is a boring person. However, Nine Tails quickly came to his senses and regained his stinky face. Now that you have taken away my power, are you still kind enough to break the seal and let me go, thinking I am a fool? Damn it! Nine Tails said, and the tail behind him swung again, but because it was too weak, it seemed a little less powerful. Who said that you have to break the seal to be free? I have other ways to get you out of Kushina's body. And without this power, if you appear in the ninja world again, I believe no one will see you again. Just hit him. After hearing this, Nine Tails thought it made sense, but I always felt that something was wrong. It feels like Uchihasuke is CPU it. However, freedom is indeed tempting. And it looks like Uchihasuke has no intention of deceiving it. Human, will you really be free from me? Kurama, you can try. Nine Tails finally couldn't resist the temptation. Okay, I trust you for the time being. Tell me how to cooperate to satisfy you. It's very simple. All you need to do is cooperate fully with Kushina in using your power. Is this all it takes? Yes, that's all. Violently taking Nine Tails' chakra away can allow Kushina to enter the golden body mode, but this golden body mode is incomplete. To enter the complete golden body mode, you need to be connected with Kushina and Nine Tails, or mutually recognize each other. Other side. In this way Kushina can enter the complete golden body mode. Under normal circumstances, if Kushina wants to influence Nine Tails, getting recognition from Nine Tails is an extremely long process. After all, Nine Tails' temper is known to be smelly and hard, just like the smelly rocks in the latrine. Only a silly boy like Naruto can exert great perseverance to influence Nine Tails. Kushina didn't say whether he could do it or not, and Uchihasuke didn't want Kushina to face Nine Tails' bad face. He had an easier way. Human, I believe in you. I will try my best to cooperate with Kushina and let her use my power. But if you don't fulfill your promise in the future, I will definitely kill you, Nine Tails said in a strong and honest manner. Don't worry, Kurama, I won't let you down. After Nine Tails received Uchihasuke's approval, he would seem to accept his fate, put his hands in front of his body, lay his head on them, and tilt his head away, not looking at Uchihasuke and the others. Although Nine Tails didn't say anything, it clearly showed that it was chasing people away. Or that it doesn't want to see Uchihasuke now. Let's go back, Kushina. Uchihasuke lowered his head and said with a smile. Gee, I will listen to you. Then Uchihasuke's eye power gradually dropped, and Kushina soon discovered that the surrounding space began to twist and rotate. When she came to her senses again, she returned to that cozy little room. At this time, she was lying on Uchihasuke. "Okay, it's getting late, let's go to bed early," Uchihasuke said and pulled the quilt. But the quilt was quickly pulled off by Kushina. "Gee, don't sleep," Kushina said, and her figure fell downwards. Uchihasuke subconsciously looked out the window. At this time, there was a glimmer of light in the sky. The last thought that flashed through his mind was, "Hey guys, I didn't expect to have to stay up all night writing." But Uchihasuke soon became addicted to writing. "Please give me flowers, bosses, is there anyone else?" Somewhat uneasy. "Please flowers, please flowers, please flowers." Konoha, I am really not a bad person. Author, Cat on the List. Chapter 44. In the early morning, the fog is hazy. Chuyang seemed to be shy, wearing a veil and showing off. Suddenly, the sound of jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell came from the room. However, the alarm clock is not here to wake up Uchihasuke, but to interrupt Uchihasuke. Uchihasuke had no choice but to speed up and soak all the ink into the paper. Then, there was a rustling and hurried sound in the room. Introduction, Ninja Bag. The ninja bag is here. Gee, do we want to bring military food pills? Gee, look if I'm properly dressed. Gee, don't move, I'll help you straighten your collar. Hurrying slowly, Uchihasuke and Kushina arrived at the Forest of Death. At this time, nearly 2,000 ninjas had gathered in the Death Forest. The vast majority of ninjas are composed of ninjas from the Hyuga clan, the Uchiha clan and the Sarutobi clan, with only a small number of ninjas from other families. However, this is the limit of Konoha's ability to send out ninjas now. The three leading ninjas are Hyuga Hisashi, Uchiha Fugaku, and Sarutobi Hungno. Might Dai, Kakashi, Might Guy, and the others also waited patiently. After seeing Uchihasuke and Kushina appear together, Uchiha Fugaku, Hyuga Hisashi, and Kasi shouted respectfully, "Assistant Hokage." The leader of the Sarutobi clan, Sarutobi Hongyi, although his eyes were full of resistance when he saw Uchiha, he still followed in a deep voice, "Assistant Hokage." Now that Sarutobi Hiruzen is not in Konoha, and almost all of his men are on the front lines, Uchihasuke alone has the final say in Konoha. And he didn't know what means Uchihasuke used to make the Hyuga clan and the Uchiha clan take the lead. It doesn't matter if they don't want to come. Sarutobi Hungno's little moves naturally couldn't escape Uchihasuke's eyes, but Uchihasuke didn't say anything. Although this battle with the Mist Ninja is not difficult, it is still full of dangers. After a few simple words, Uchihasuke took a group of them and set off directly. Before leaving, Uchihasuke left a letter to Orochimaru. With Orochimaru taking over Konoha, Uchihasuke doesn't have to worry. Uchihasuke and Kushina led the way at the front of the entire coalition, but in order to take into account the lack of strength of the ninja behind them, their speed was not mentioned as the fastest. Following closely behind them were Kakashi and the others. Kakashi looked at the two figures in front of him and hesitated several times. He has not seen Uchihasuke many times, but Kushina is very familiar to him. After all, his teacher is Namikaze Minato, and Kakashi always thought that Kushina would become his sister-in-law. However, the scene before him was obviously completely different from what he had imagined. According to common sense, he should not like this matter. However, Kakashi didn't feel much in his heart at this time. Love itself is free. Kushina and his teacher are not married, and she and Uchihasuke are not breaking any rules. Although Kakashi thought so in his heart, he was unconsciously dissatisfied with Namikaze Minato. Regarding Obito, Namikaze Minato came late. After he put on Obito's eyes, Namikaze Minato only apologized when faced with Konoha's accusations. However, Uchihasuke silenced the Uchiha clan with just one word. When Uchiha Fugaku saw him arriving this morning, he cared for him kindly. Ask him if he has any discomfort in his eyes, and tell him that the Uchiha clan is willing to help him if he feels uncomfortable. They are even willing to provide some experience in using Sharingan. All this is what his teacher should do, and it is not difficult. However, Namikaze Minato did nothing. So after seeing Kushina and Uchihasuke together, Kakashi thought this was pretty good. However, Namikaze Minato is his teacher after all. Kakashi still couldn't bear it. I hope the teacher can accept it after knowing it. Some people traveled for a whole day. From morning to night, until the sun completely set, they arrived at the border of the fire country. After arriving at the destination, Uchihasuke arranged for Uchiha Fugaku and Hyuga Hisashi to lead people to set up camp. At the same time, several teams of reconnaissance ninjas were sent out to detect the surrounding situation. That night, command the camp. Assistant Hokage, after our detection, there are roughly 3 directions for the Mist Ninja to attack Konoha. One is to land directly from our current location and confront us head-on. The other way is to go downstream along the sea and land on the mainland downstream. The last location is to go upstream along the sea, deep into the heart of Konoha, and land into the territory of the Land of Fire. Assistant Hokage, here is a detailed map of the 3 location landing sites. As long as the Mist Ninjas attack our Konoha, they can only attack from these 3 directions. It is impossible for them to bypass our ninjas and quietly enter Konoha's territory from other locations. Well, that does seem to be the case. Do you have any ideas? Uchihasuke quickly looked away from the map and looked at the 3 people in front of him. In the camp were the 3 captains who led the team this time. Uchiha Fugaku, Hyuga Hisashi, and Sarutobi Hungno. The author is too tired. There are flowers, they are renewed. Bring some flowers. Konoha, I am really not a bad person. Author, Cat on the list. Chapter 45. In the tent, candlelight flickered, shining on everyone's face. Hyuga Hisashi glanced at the 2 people around him and stepped forward first. Assistant Hokage, my suggestion is that we divide our troops into 3 groups and guard these 3 positions respectively. Once the fog ninjas have a tendency to land and attack, we can defend the stronghold while waiting for support from other strongholds. In this way, we can avoid the fog to the greatest extent. Ninja's attack will prevent the Mist Ninja from going deep into the territory of the Fire Country and threatening our supply lines. Then, we will double team from the front and back to annihilate all the Mist Ninjas on the spot. Uchiha Fugaku glanced at Uchihasuke without objection. In his opinion, this method is indeed the best way to resist the Mist Ninja today. Even if the Mist Ninja does not attack and instead defends the stronghold, they will have enough time to find out the details of the Mist Ninja. At that time, if the 3 lines attack at the same time, they will definitely kill the Mist Ninja with one blow. Sarutobi Hungno also had no objection. If the troops were divided, he would be able to stay away from Uchihasuke, so he naturally supported the division of troops. Likewise, Uchihasuke also agrees with this approach. Well, then let's go back and prepare. After Uchihasuke finished speaking, he looked at Sarutobi Hongyi below. Hongyi, is there no problem for you to lead the ninjas of the Sarutobi clan to guard this stronghold downstream? Sarutobi Hongyi glanced at the place with a frown and nodded. Assistant Hokage, no problem. In his opinion, there is not much difference between the 3 positions. He was just a little surprised that Uchihasuke gave him all the members of the Sarutobi clan. Aren't you afraid that his mercenaries will respect themselves? Of course, this result is obviously welcomed by everyone. In order to prevent sudden changes, Hongye worked hard and rushed to this stronghold overnight to set up camp tonight. Once there is an attack by Mist Ninjas, notify me immediately and I will bring ninjas from the other 2 strongholds to come to support. Okay, Assistant Hokage. Sarutobi Hongyi didn't want to stay here any longer and immediately exited the tent. He didn't care who guarded the 2 remaining camps, and he didn't care. He wants to end this war quickly and wait until Sarutobi Hiruzen returns to Konoha. Soon only Uchihasuke, Shiha Fugaku, and Hyuga Hisashi were left in the room. Fugaku, Hisashi, you will allocate the remaining ninjas in the camp according to their strength tonight. Then Fugaku will lead more than half of the ninjas to the upstream station. Hyuga Hisashi will take the remaining ninjas and station here with me. Originally, Uchiha Fugaku and Hidashi didn't feel anything. When they proposed to divide their troops, they guessed that the three of them were in one place. However, when he heard Uchihasuke's specific troop division strategy, his eyes instantly focused on the downstream station. For a moment they seemed to understand something. Logically speaking, among these three stations, the downstream station is the most vulnerable to attack, the middle station is the second most vulnerable, and the upstream station poses the least threat. Because the upstream station is located in the hinterland of Konoha, once the Mist Ninja village attacks, this place can easily be surrounded and annihilated by Konoha's ninjas. The middle station is located in the middle of the two stations, and the fastest time for help to come. If they were fog ninjas, they would attack the camps downstream directly, and then attack upward one by one. However, Uchihasuke actually distributed most of his power upstream. A place farthest from the downstream station. There are Uchihasuke and Kakashi stationed in the middle. Although the number of ninjas is not as good as the upper reaches, the overall strength is not much worse than the upper reaches. Looking at it this way, the lower reaches are definitely the weakest among the three stations. It's like a high-grade horse, a medium-grade horse, and a low-grade horse. The downstream station is the inferior horse. Once the Mist Ninja finds out the actual situation of the downstream station, the Mist Ninja will definitely attack the downstream station. And stationed downstream are ninjas from the Sarutobi clan. Immediately afterwards, an idea that frightened them appeared in their minds. The ninjas of the Sarutobi clan are going to suffer. At the same time, they were a little lucky. Fortunately, they had chosen to join Uchihasuke. Otherwise, it is very likely that their tribesmen will appear in the downstream station now, and the result can be imagined. Uchihasuke also saw the change in their eyes, but did not explain it. This is the importance of having the right to speak. Uchihasuke has 10,000 ways to kill the Sarutobi clan quietly and legitimately. And let them die a worthy death, squeezing out the last value. It's equivalent to recycling waste. After assigning the task, Uchihasuke returned to his tent and fell asleep beautifully while holding Kushina in his arms. In fact, Uchihasuke can completely wait for the reconnaissance team to find the location of the fog ninja and crush them directly with strength. However, Uchihasuke did not do this and instead chose a more complicated method. Its purpose is obvious. Next, Konoha continued to send out reconnaissance teams to explore the strength of the Mist Ninja. Similarly, the Mist Ninja also continued to send out reconnaissance teams to explore the details of Konoha. During this period, there were many small-scale frictions between the two sides, but they both showed extreme restraint and there were no large-scale battles. Neither side is prepared to go all out until they can figure out the other side's trump card. At first, Uchihasuke was not in a hurry and just lived a picnic-like life with Kushina in the camp. The emotional value keeps rising. In just a few days, the sentiment value has exceeded 150,000, and is less than 50,000 away from 200,000. However, after staying at Uchihasuke for a few days, I felt extremely bored. So one day, Uchihasuke left a shadow clone and sneaked into the Kingdom of Water with Kushina. Soon they came to a border village in the Kingdom of Water. From a distance, Uchihasuke heard the sound of firecrackers and the festive beating of drums. Someone is getting married. Uchihasuke and Kushina looked at each other, filled with curiosity. When you go out to play, just try to be fresh. They were going to join in the fun. There were very few flowers yesterday, only a dozen or so. The author is a little confused, so I will update 3 times today. Asking for flowers. There will be more than 21,044 flowers tomorrow, more will be added. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Konoha, I am really not a bad person. Author, Cat on the List. Chapter 46. Hey, do you know that kid Sato got lucky and married such a beautiful daughter-in-law? No, if he hadn't acted quickly, I would have fought for my son anyway. Haha, I don't envy him. His wife is from another village. She may have escaped from somewhere. Let me tell you, maybe something happened to her. Why are you thinking so much? Finally, there is something happy in the village, and we can have a good meal and drink. That's right, just go and eat first. Kusuna's eyes became brighter as she listened to the villagers' discussion. Gee, someone is really getting married. We can have a good meal. I can hardly stand eating fast food in the camp every day these days. Besides, I haven't seen a wedding in a small village yet. Kusuna stuck out her tongue after speaking. She was quite happy when she first left Konoha. But this time they left Konoha not for tourism, but for the war, and life was not as good as she had imagined. Of course, she is very satisfied with Uchihasuke by her side. Uchihasuke tapped Kusuna's forehead. When there is a chance in the future, I will take you to travel to other places. Well, it shouldn't take long, just wait until this war is over. Really? Gee, then I want to go to Yuji country. It is said that Yuji country has the largest and most famous hot spring in the ninja world. It must be extremely enjoyable to soak in the hot spring there. Okay, you can go wherever you want. Hee, I knew G was good to me. Everyone in this small village knows each other. If Uchihasuke and Kusuna show up rashly, they will be recognized as outsiders at a glance. However, this was not difficult for Uchihasuke and Kusuna. They put on a little disguise and blended in easily. When they arrived at the wedding venue, they found a wine table with not many people and sat down. They laughed and chatted while listening to the villagers around them talking about their daily life. Kusuna is like a curious baby, interested in everything. Uchihasuke also followed Kusuna and listened to the chat of the people sitting on the seat. Did you hear that? The daughter-in-law the Sato family married this time has a surname of Minajiki. She seems to be called Mizunazuki Murasaki. Shuiwuo? This name sounds like the surname of a big family. It seems to be from a big family in the Kingdom of Water. What a big family! If someone from a big family can escape to a small village like ours, I remember how embarrassed she was when she first came to our village. Hey, maybe I've made some enemies. I see that you are envious of Sato and that he can marry a beautiful wife, right? Envy? Who is envious? I also have a daughter-in-law, okay. So what's the use of a pretty little girl? Is she as big as my daughter-in-law? Can she give birth to a child? Mizunazuki purple. Could it be her? Uchihasuke is no stranger to this name. Not to mention, with the surname Shuiwuo, this is the famous bloodline Ice Escape clan in Mist Ninja Village. Sir, the name Minajiki Murasaki sounds nice, and I also feel that the name is quite familiar. It seems to belong to a large ninja family in Kiri Ninja Village. I didn't expect the bride's background to be so big this time. Kusuna, I didn't expect you to know this last name too. Ah, am I right? Could it be that Minajiki is really a big family of Kiri ninjas? I didn't expect to meet them in such a small village. Normally we shouldn't encounter it, but have you forgotten the blood mist policy that Mist Ninja Village recently implemented? Suke, are you talking about the Mist Ninja suppression of the bloodline family? Yes, Shuiwuo is one of the most suppressed families. You may not know about Shuiwuo, but I said Ice Escape, now you know which family it is. Ice Shield. Oh, Suke, I know this. It turns out that the powerful Ice Escape clan in Mistblade village is the Minajiki clan, Kushina suddenly realized. It's just that I still don't understand why the Mist Ninja village suppressed the bloodline family. It's obvious that the mainstay of the village is these bloodline families. In Kushina's view, the status of the Ice Release blood succession line in the Mist Ninja village is similar to that of the Uchiha clan in Konoha. Uchiha is the first family in Konoha, but Minajiki was destroyed by his own shadow. How silly is this? Kushina doesn't know that without Uchihasuke's intervention, that fool Kage, including Hokage. I know a little bit about the reason why the Mist Ninja village suppressed the bloodline family, but that is not important now. The important thing is that we will see a good show soon. A good show? What a good show? Uchihasuke smiled mysteriously. You'll find out later. The wedding ceremony in the small village was not grand, but there were usually no activities in the village. Today, everyone was gathered together, and it seemed very lively. After a while, someone screamed in surprise, and then everyone stopped to discuss and looked in the same direction. Then an ordinary man with dark skin, wearing a red dress, walked out of the room. Not far behind him was a woman also wearing a red dress. It's just that this woman's skin is extremely fair, and she and this man look like people from two different worlds. Wow, she's so beautiful. Is she Murasaka Minajiki? Kushina's eyes lit up when she saw the bride appear. It's indeed beautiful. Uchihasuke nodded in agreement. The moment he saw Minajiki Murasaka, Uchihasuke confirmed his previous suspicion. Suwuyu Eze is Suwuyu Ebai's mother. Because they look alike, or in other words, Minajiki purple looks like Minajiki buys women's clothing. And it's more feminine, like a lotus in the snow. Uchihasuke didn't expect that he randomly came to a small village in the land of water, and the wedding he met happened to be the village where Minajiki Murasaka was. What a coincidence. Because this time Uchihasuke came out just to hang out, without any clear purpose, just to relieve Kushina's boredom. At the same time, Uchihasuke was speechless at the Kiri ninja's courage. After so many days, Uchihasuke believed that the Kiri ninja had figured out their Konoha's defensive strategy. However, the Mist Ninja did not attack for a long time. It was simply a fantasy for the Mist Ninja to want to get a piece of meat from Konoha with his decisiveness. It's a pity that the groom looks so good. It's obvious that the two of them are not a good match. In Kushina's eyes, the groom is just an ordinary person, while the bride is like a princess. Based on the appearance alone, it can only be said that the groom has eaten swan meat. The key reason why Kushina felt unworthy was the bride's reaction. Minajiki Zi kept her head down, her expression dull, not wanting the reaction a newlywed bride should have. If it were her wedding to Uchihasuke and she was the bride, she would definitely burst into tears with excitement. On the other hand, the groom's face was filled with joy and he kept his head raised, looking extremely proud. Kushina thought and suddenly tugged on Uchihasuke's clothes. Then he leaned over and whispered in Uchihasuke's ear. Gee, otherwise you can snatch the bride away. Please flowers, please flowers, please flowers. 4 updates today. Konoha, I am really not a bad person. Author, Cat on the List. Chapter 47. After Kushina finished speaking, her eyes sparkled brightly. Uchihasuke heard this and looked up at Kushina in surprise. As if for an instant, Uchihasuke saw a pair of small tentacles on Kushina's forehead, and a wagging tail behind him. At this moment, Kushina was even more excited than Uchihasuke. Kushina, what are you talking about? Gee, aren't you tempted? I know you must also want to steal the marriage. After all, the bride Mizuno Uzi is so beautiful. Humph, I don't believe you are not attracted. Didn't you just look at me at that time? Kushina said, rolling her eyes at Uchihasuke. Uchihasuke didn't know whether to laugh or cry when he heard this. At that time, he clearly knew that there was a reason for the incident, thinking that he had become violent and was still dreaming. However, One thing to say is that Uchihasuke is still very excited about Kushina's proposal. Some things only happen 0 times and countless times. When he first came into this world, Uchihasuke had a bad start. Now that Uchihasuke sees a beautiful girl, he doesn't want to have any regrets about missing out. After all, after finally arriving in the Hokage ninja world, will you leave any regrets? Anyway, I'm no longer a good person. Kushina, your idea is dangerous, Uchihasuke said. Kushina looked away awkwardly and whispered, "Gee, I just think it's fun to snatch the bride. Anyway, it's not the first time you have done this kind of thing, and I feel that if you snatch the bride over, it will be fun. I'll definitely be very happy." Happy? Uchihasuke didn't expect Kushina to think like this. However, Uchihasuke feels that Kushina wants to find someone to pull him off. "Gee, after hearing what you said, I do feel that it's not good for us to do this. What should we do?" Kushina began to get entangled again. "You know it's not good." Uchihasuke tapped Kushina's forehead. This time, Kushina was not convinced. "Gee, you are not qualified to say this." Uchihasuke laughed, did not refute, just rubbed Kushina's head, and then smiled mysteriously. "Don't worry, you will know what I do later." Kushina suddenly became more interested. "Gee, I saw the way you looked at Minazuki-Zi just now, and I knew you wouldn't be indifferent. You really have thoughts about her." Uchihasuke admitted that he knew that the bride this time was Minazuki Murasaki and he had an idea. However, his ideas are not exactly the same as Kushina's. Kushina simply wanted to steal the bride so that the world would not be in chaos. What Uchihasuke cares more about is the identity, or bloodline, of Murasaki Minazuki. Uchihasuke thought, abducting him into Konoha, so that Konoha can add a new bloodline family, which can further enhance Konoha's strength. After all, Uchihasuke is now Konoha's Hokage, well, shadow. Of course, it is undeniable that Minazuki Murasaki is very beautiful. Not long after, Uchihasuke made a seal in front of Kushina. Genjutsu Naraku meets technique. At the same time, Uchihasuke's 3-tomo Sharingan emerged, and the focus was on Minazuki Murasaki in the crowd. With a numb face, Minazuki-Zi's whole body suddenly trembled. She found that the sounds around her became quiet, and everyone around her disappeared. A large amount of blood and sword shadows appeared in front of her eyes. In the blood, their family was assassinated by the Mist Ninja village, and a large number of clan members died in front of her. She and a small number of tribesmen barely escaped from the tribe under the protection of the strong men in the tribe. The scene of that day was buried deep in Miyazuki-Zi's heart until she escaped to the border of the Kingdom of Water. Come to this small village with almost no interaction with the outside world. She originally thought she had escaped, but she didn't expect to see the scene again, and her heart was filled with panic for a moment. Chakra appeared on her body like an instinct, and a large number of isenbons appeared around her. At the wedding, the villagers looked at Minazuki-Zi and suddenly stopped, their eyes full of confusion. It was not until a large number of Hyusenbon appeared on Minazuki Murasaki that all the villagers were shocked. The village chief sitting below stood up and pointed at Mizunazuki Murasaki with a look of horror on his face. "Maiko, Maiko. She is a Maiko. Damn it, she turned out to be an evil witch. No wonder she agreed to marry the Zoteng family. She must have some ulterior and evil purpose. Kill her, kill her." The groom came back to his senses and looked at Mizuno-Uzi with hatred on his face. No wonder the bride always treated him coldly, she turned out to be a witch. "You don't need to do anything, I will burn her to death myself." Uchihasuke sees that his goal has been achieved and removes the Narakumi technique. "Gee, so that's what you think. A hero saves a beauty. I'm optimistic about you." After Kushina finished speaking, she pouted again. "Suke is so gentle to Minazuki Murasaki, but he is so violent to me." Uchihasuke couldn't laugh or cry. What does it mean to be a hero saving a beauty? It just makes Purple Minajiki realize the reality. She possesses the Ice Escape bloodline and could have become a powerful ninja. However, in the Kingdom of Water, it brought her a fatal disaster. You think about what will happen if one day the villagers discover that she has bloodline boundaries. Kusina tilted her head and glanced around. At this time, all the villagers shared the same hatred, and some villagers even had the nearby shovels and wooden sticks in their hands. Looking at Mizuno Uzi was like looking at monsters. Obviously bloodline is an extremely rare and powerful bloodline in the ninja world, and it is what all ninjas yearn for, but here it is regarded as a devil. Kusina felt a little sorry for Minajiki Murasaki. At the same time, in the center of the crowd, the confusion in Shui Wuozi's eyes disappeared. When he looked around again, the blood flow and the corpses of the Sai tribe had long since disappeared, replaced by countless villagers. They were looking at her as if they were looking at monsters. Minajiki Zi was stunned for a long time. It wasn't until she found countless Ice Thousand books floating around her that she understood what she had just done. I actually exposed the boundaries of blood inheritance for a moment. Shui Wuo's purple eyes were filled with fear. Maiko, you dare to deceive me. Now I will catch you and burn you to death. The man in the groom's clothes said with a vicious look on his face. Mizuno Ueza was frightened by the eyes of the person in front of her, and subconsciously took a few steps back. Her legs were weak and she accidentally fell to the ground. In fact, with the strength of Murasaki Minajiki's awakened bloodline, she can easily kill the entire village. But she has never killed anyone. She has been fleeing in the Middle East and hiding in Tibet. She does not understand her bloodline and can only use it instinctively. Facing the scene in front of her, Shui Ueza was filled with fear. No, I'm not a Maiko. However, no matter what Minajiki Zi said, no one believed it. At this moment, Uchihasuke appeared in front of Minajiki Murasaki, isolating Minajiki Murasaki from the villagers, leaving only Minajiki Murasaki with a broad back. Thank you all for the flowers. There are 200 flowers today. 4 updates. Konoha, I am really not a bad person. Author, Cat on the List. Chapter 48. At some point, snowflakes started to float in the sky and fell in the yard with the wind, landing on everyone's shoulders. A cold wind blew through, making people shiver. However, at this time, everyone's attention was not on the sudden change in the weather, but on the sudden appearance of Uchihasuke, frowning slightly. Uchihasuke raised his eyes and looked at the villagers expressionlessly. Ignorant people, you have no idea what the power in Suizuki Zi's body represents. If it weren't for her kindness, she could easily kill you all with her abilities. Uchihasuke's deep voice appeared in the ears of all the villagers. However, Uchihasuke is obviously talking nonsense. This witch actually has an accomplice. There is indeed a conspiracy behind her marrying into our village. Kill him, kill them all. I have long suspected that their motives were impure. Fortunately, we found out early. We take their corpses and report them to the officials of the Kingdom of Water. We might even get a lot of rewards. When the groom on the side saw Uchihasuke appear, he directly picked up the long stick next to him and swung it towards Uchihasuke. The wooden stick made a whooshing sound in the air, and hit Uchihasuke's head hard. It was about to hit Uchihasuke's head. But just when he thought he hit Uchihasuke, his body suddenly froze. Then, he saw a cold light flash before his eyes. A plop sound. The stick in the groom's hand fell to the ground. Uchihasuke didn't look back and slowly put away the long knife in his hand. To deal with these villagers, Uchihasuke didn't even need to use Sharingan, and he didn't even have the intention of using chakra. You're a murderer, how dare you kill someone from our village? Come together and kill him. Hateful. The next second, 7 or 8 villagers who were relatively close to Uchihasuke, armed with shovels and sticks, surrounded Uchihasuke. Uchihasuke gently turned his wrist twice, and after a few rays of cold light, 7 or 8 villagers fell to the ground at the same time. Seeing this scene, the villagers in the village were all dumbfounded. Because Uchihasuke was so fast, they didn't even see how Uchihasuke took action, and then their villagers fell down, lifeless. The devil is indeed the devil. The murderer king. Run, or we'll all be killed. The last few villagers shouted and fled. After some people started running, the others couldn't suppress the fear in their hearts. The total number of people in their village is only 50 or 60, and now nearly 10 people have died, which is equivalent to 1/5 of the people in their village. They all died at the hands of Uchihasuke, which was basically all the young adults in their village. After a while, all the villagers on the site disappeared. There are only 3 people left, Uchihasuke, Minajiki Murasaka, and Kushina. Uchihasuke watched them flee in panic without making any move. In his opinion, these villagers were just like ants on the ground, and Uchihasuke didn't pay any attention to them. However, if any ant wants to bite him, he doesn't mind crushing it to death. The scene before her eyes happened too fast. When Mizuna Ueza came back to her senses, she found people lying on the ground beside her. When she saw Uchihasuke turning to look at her, she subconsciously crawled back a few steps. She instinctively thought that Uchihasuke was the ninja from the Mist Ninja village who came to hunt her down. But she soon discovered the difference between Uchihasuke. Uchihasuke did not have the forehead protector of the Kiri ninja, nor did she have any Kiri ninja logo. However, Minajiki Murasaka still recognized the identity of Uchihasuke, a round fan with red top and white bottom. He is from the Uchiha clan. Although it was the first time for Murasaka Minajiki to see Uchihasuke and she didn't know Uchihasuke's name, she seemed to understand something when she met Uchihasuke's eyes. Are you here to save me? Don't you want to live? I don't know. Shui Wuozi lowered her head, a trace of confusion flashed in her eyes. All my relatives are dead. I don't even know if there are any people of mine in this world. The entire Water Kingdom wants to kill me. I don't know what the meaning of living is. He looked at Minajiki Zia sitting on the ground like a duck, with a hesitant look on his face. Uchihasuke felt something in his heart and curled his lips. He walked to the side, picked a flower in the yard, held it in his hand, and squatted in front of Minajiki Zia. Living itself has no meaning, but if you continue to live, you may meet interesting people and interesting things, just like you met that flower and I met you. Hearing this, Minajiki Murasaka suddenly raised her head and looked at Uchihasuke. Colorful light exploded in the eyes. Please flowers, please flowers, please flowers. Guys, please give me flowers, the author is crying and begging. Lots of flowers, updated soon. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Konoha, I am really not a bad person. Author, Cat on the List. Chapter 49. G, is the water temperature okay? Thank you Zi, the tea made by Zi is not only warm, but also delicious. As long as you like it, G, do you want me to give you a shoulder massage? I'm very good at shoulder massage. After Minajiki Murasaka finished speaking, without waiting for Uchihasuke to answer, she squatted directly behind Uchihasuke and gently squeezed Uchihasuke's shoulders with her hands. Zi, you are too accommodating, Kushina complained speechlessly on the side. Since that day, Murasaka Minajiki has served Uchihasuke tenderly like a little maid, taking good care of Uchihasuke, even feeding her food into Uchihasuke's mouth. Kushina, as long as you like her, that's fine, Minajiki Murasaka said, looking down at Uchihasuke in front of her. All her eyes were filled with Uchihasuke's figure. Uchihasuke also talked to Minajiki Murasaka once or twice at the beginning, telling her that she was not anyone's vassal, that she didn't have to live just for him, and that she could take a rest and do something she liked. However, as soon as Uchihasuke opened his mouth, Minajiki Murasaki lowered her head and looked confused, like a child who had made a mistake. There was no other way, so Uchihasuke never mentioned it again and allowed Minajiki Murasaki to serve him. From this point of view, the future Minajiki Shiro and his mother are really similar. Yes, Bai is a boy, but he looks very gentle. Kusina, if you want me to massage you, I will massage you after I finish massaging Uchihasuke. I don't need you to treat me like this. It doesn't matter, Kusina is the woman you want to serve, and she is also the one I serve. Farewell, you'd better give me all your care. I'm still not used to others treating me like this. After saying that, Kusina looked at Uchihasuke with a speechless expression. At this time, she finally understood what the big drama Uchihasuke was talking about. Gee, you are really a bad guy. However, Kusina's tone was not disgusting, but more coquettish. That's my skill. Uchihasuke's shame has long been developed. After all, he has been sitting in an awkward posture from the beginning. Since he figured it out, Uchihasuke has completely let go of his inhibitions. Uchihasuke didn't have any psychological burden from the robbery at the wedding. At this time, Uchihasuke and the others were in a relatively large town nearby. After a short rest, Uchihasuke took Kusina and the others for a stroll in the town's commercial street. Uchihasuke also took this opportunity to have a good time with Kusina, bought a lot of things, and ate some special snacks. It wasn't until night fell that the group of them returned to the hotel. As soon as he entered the room, Kusina seemed to think of something, her eyes moved, and then she leaned over and whispered in Uchihasuke's ear. Sister, I'll let Zi accompany you tonight. I'm going to rest first. I'm pregnant now, so I won't mess around with you. After Kusina finished speaking, without waiting for Uchihasuke's consent, she turned around and ran to another bedroom. After taking a shower, Kusina threw herself directly on the big bed and buried her whole body under the quilt. Her heart was full of satisfaction and her face was red. Gigi has been so crazy during this period, and I don't know why he is so motivated. I haven't had a good night's sleep in a long time, and I finally have time to take a good rest today. Kusina lay there for a while, then turned over and leaned on the bed in the moonlight, gently stroking her belly with her right hand. Xiao Xiaoziaja, don't be so greedy for beauty like your father in the future. Did you know? Kusina let go and left without caring about anything, while Murasaki Minajiki arranged the shoes at the door, put away the things she bought today, and then went to make the bed for Uchihasuke. After finishing all this work, Shui Wuozii went to take a bath. Uchihasuke, on the other hand, lay on the bed after taking a shower like an old man. Then, the bored viewer Emotions Mall. There are a large number of props and items in the emotional mall, which can be said to be countless. Even now, Uchihasuke has not read through the entire page, or even only the tip of the iceberg, so much so that he has now developed a habit. Occasionally when I am bored, I look for items from the emotional mall. Just like he often watched Dao Mao before traveling through time, he might find an item he wanted at any time, or add something to his shopping cart that he wanted but couldn't afford. Now, the top item in his shopping cart is Mangekyo, which also contains Sage Mode, Senju Bloodline, and Satsuki Bloodline. The coexistence of time and space, shadow clone technique, was also accidentally discovered by Uchihasuke in the emotional mall. After Minajiki Murasaki finished washing, she came to Uchihasuke's room with 2 glasses of warm water. She was stunned when she saw Uchihasuke alone on the bed. Sir, isn't Kusina here? I brought her some water too. Seeing the water glass, Uchihasuke also felt a little thirsty and smiled after taking the water glass. Kusina is sleeping in another room today. Another room, Minajiki Zi was even more puzzled. She thought she slept in the other room. Then if Kusina sleeps in another room, then she. What did Minajiki Zi seem to understand in an instant? But she didn't refuse, but her face was terribly hot. After Uchihasuke saved her, she regarded Uchihasuke as everything to him. No matter what Uchihasuke wants to do, she won't refuse. Uchihasuke also didn't expect that Minajiki Murasaka was so obedient. A night of silence. Only the emotional system is relatively noisy. Collect the emotions of Minajiki Murasaka's attachment, admiration, passion, happiness, and trembling. The total emotional value this time is 11,500 points, and the current cumulative emotional value is 177,000 points. But Uchihasuke is clearly not in the mood to pay attention to the emotional system tonight. Thank you all for the flowers. More flowers will be added to this chapter. Tomorrow there will be more than 21,364 flowers. Please continue to add more. Please flowers, please flowers, please flowers. Konoha, I am really not a bad person. Author, Cat on the List. Chapter 50. The Country of Water, Lishui Town. The bright sunshine shines from the window, and Uchihasuke is lying on the lounge chair and swaying leisurely. One bad thing about the Kingdom of Water is that there are too many cloudy days and too much rain. Uchihasuke has been in the land of water for many days. It rains or snows every day. It's not easy to encounter the good weather today. Inside the house, Mizuna Uzui was tidying up and cleaning the house as usual. Add and change water in Uchihasuke's water glass from time to time. Kusina leaned in Uchihasuke's arms board, her head resting on Uchihasuke's body, and her little hands reached into Uchihasuke's clothes and pinched them from time to time. Kusina originally thought that after Murasaka Minajiki joined, she would be able to take a break and study 100 precautions for new moms to prepare for becoming a mother. However, Kusina soon discovered that she was overthinking. Gee, you are really a big pervert, a tireless big pervert. Kusina, I take it all as your compliment. Uchihasuke didn't even open his eyes. Shameless. Kusina pouted, not knowing why Uchihasuke was happy. In the past few days, Uchihasuke has discovered a new way to open up his emotional system. Originally, when he was with Kusina or Murasaka Minajiki at night, the emotional value he obtained was basically stable around 5,000, which was pretty much the same. For everyone, only the first two obtained emotional values were relatively high, able to break through the 10,000 mark. However, after Uchihasuke tried a threesome, the emotional value obtained in a single session increased significantly. Although it did not reach the ideal doubling situation, it was still as many as 8 or 9,000 at one time. Unfortunately, the emotion collection system seems to have a sage's time, and it cannot increase the emotion value every day. According to my observations during this period, it seems that the emotional value can only be obtained once a day. Fortunately, I also discovered a way to increase the acquisition of emotional value. According to Uchihasuke, there are 3 main ways to improve the emotional value. The first type is the first encounter. It was like meeting Kusina for the first time, and meeting Murasaka Minajiki for the first time. The second type is transformation. After Kusina recognizes him, he will receive an additional reward. However, this does not mean that changes will be better. In Uchihasuke's view, the sooner recognition is achieved, the better. Before Kusina recognized Uchihasuke, Uchihasuke only gained 2,000 to 3,000 emotional points every time he was with Kusina. Compared with the additional acquisition of recognition, the additional emotional value obtained each time is far more cost-effective. Third, double. When riding together with Kusina and Murasaka Minajiki, the emotional value obtained increases visibly. It has only been a few days, but Uchihasuke's emotional value has already reached 190,000, which is only a little bit away from Mangekyo. Although Kusina didn't know what Uchihasuke was so happy about, Kusina was still very happy during this time traveling to the border of the land of water. Lishui town was already the third town the 3 of them had arrived at. Kushina soon turned her attention away from the triumphant Uchihasuke, picked up a drawing and looked at Murasaki Minajiki. "Zi, which town should we go to next? Should we go to Shui Shui Town? Or La Shui Town? I heard that there is a very big water park in Shui Shui Town. Where does Kushina want to go?" "As long as it's wherever Kushina wants to go, I can do it," Mizuki said. "I wanted to go to Shui Shui Town at first, but I think La Shui Town is also very good. I heard that there is a very famous local soja there." "How does it taste?" Kushina was very distressed. "Then why don't we both go?" Uchihasuke said. "That being said, there is only one destination for our next destination. If we go to one of them, we have to go to the other next time. It's so confusing. It would be great if we could use clone technique when traveling. If you really want to go to these two places at the same time, we can indeed use the clone technique, but are you sure you want the clone to go where you want to go? Although there seems to be no problem, there is still a certain difference between the clone and the main body. Each clone has a different personality. Let the clone go, even if you have the memory of the clone, it will always feel weird. It still doesn't work. The clone I'm talking about is not the clone technique, but a clone that can appreciate such beautiful scenery at the same time. Since you can't decide, let's draw lots. Anyway, both are places you want to go. It depends on where God lets us go." Minajiki Murasaki watched the conversation between Uchihasuke and Kushina with a slight smile, and then brought the freshly made pastries to the table next to Uchihasuke. "Then, it seems like that's all we have to do." At this moment, a bright light flashed in Uchihasuke's eyes, and he opened his eyes, and the laziness in his eyes disappeared. "Kushina, it seems you don't have to worry about this problem anymore." Just now, the shadow clone left by Uchihasuke in the camp disappeared. However, this does not mean that his shadow clone was killed. Uchihasuke stayed in the camp shadow clone to deliver information in time. Once a preset event occurs, shadow clone will be automatically released, thus reminding Uchihasuke in time. The instruction left by Uchihasuke was for the Kiri ninja village to launch an attack. When Kushina heard this, she first looked at Uchihasuke in confusion, then she seemed to understand something, and immediately supported her body on Uchihasuke's body excitedly. "Suke, do you mean the mist ninja finally attacked? Where did they attack?" If Kushina was still confused about which town to go to next, now it is obvious that she is more interested in the attack of Mist Ninja Village than traveling. "I have had the power of Nine Tails for a while, and I have long wanted to use it. In the past few days, Kurama has cooperated well with me to familiarize myself with the power. It will definitely surprise you." "Yeah. Of course." Uchihasuke looked at the enthusiastic mood, and felt a cold sweat in his heart for those fog ninjas. In the early stages of Hokage, if Mangekyo is turned on, it is cage level, almost invincible. So, Kushina, who can perfectly master the power of Nine Tails, is definitely a more terrifying existence than cage level. Especially the Nine Tails at this time is not the yin and yang Nine Tails from the Naruto period. The Nine Tails now inside Kushina is the complete Nine Tails. Then I have to look forward to it. Get up quickly. We are ready to go back, Uchihasuke said. After Minajiki Murasaki heard the conversation between Uchihasuke and Kushina, her hand that was making tea became numb subconsciously. She knew that Uchihasuke and Kushina did not belong to the Water Kingdom, and now they were leaving. She wondered if Uchihasuke would take her with him. However, she didn't dare to ask, she was afraid of getting the opposite answer. However, the next second, a bright smile appeared on Minajiki Zi's face. "Zi, please help Kushina, she is too rough, and then you can come back with us. Back to our home in Konoha." Minajiki Murasaki looked at Uchihasuke and nodded vigorously. It will go on sale at 2 p.m. tomorrow. 5 updates on the first day. Every 50 you subscribe to for the first time will get an extra update, and every 200 flowers you spend every day will get an extra update. Please give me the data. If there is enough data to update, please let me know.